you kind of stumbled upon this.
Oh yeah, by accident. Yes. She never was bred to a racehorse. She'd always bred to show horses, stuff like that, but every one of her colts run. The only thing I can think about, she was double bred. Her daddy and her mother's daddy was full brothers. She might have got the speed that way. Her mother was a pretty good producer, but not like her. None of them has ever produced like her.
This is the tale of a man and a horse. It isn't a complicated story, but it is one of a kind. It serves as a testament to sheer luck, but also to fate. It proves that some bonds, no matter how the universe twists and turns back onto itself, cannot be shaken or broken or lost.
Well, she just changed my life up completely. I've been around horse all my life, but I've never seen a mare like this in history. I don't think there'll never be another like her, because she's done too much. She's been gone 30 some odd years, and her bloodline is still winning these big races. Goes back to FL Ladybug.
If horse racing is the sport of kings, Ada's Marvin Barnes must have royal blood in his veins. And his four-legged queen was an unassuming broodmare known as FL Ladybug that never ran a single race in her life. Together, they rewrote the record books in the world of quarter horse racing, making a lot of people a lot of money along the way.
Guy come by and he said, "Marvin, would you want to buy a good-looking mare?" I said, "Well, yeah, I might." I said, "Well, what would you have to have for her?" He said, "I give $500 for her. But if you wanted her, I'd have to have $1,000, but I want to keep her. But you could have her for $1,000. So I said, "Well, I'm going to buy her." And that's how I wound up with her. And I sold her 3 times, and I'd make $100 off of her and get her back. I don't know how I got her back. And I told my wife, I said, I won't be selling her anymore.
Marvin Barnes was destined to become a horse trader. Born smack dab in horse country on the northern shore of Lake Texoma, he never knew a life without horses in it. Like his father before him, Marvin was friendly and was blessed with the gift of gab.
My dad, he was a car salesman. They put in a Chrysler and Plymouth place here. He got acquainted with the guys, and they hired him sales manager. And that's why we moved to Ada. And I was about 12 years old. And we've been here ever since. He traded for horses. He always had good horses. And that's how I got involved in it. I always done a lot of other things, but I always kept a good horse.
By the time I was a teenager, the name Marvin Barnes, or Marvin and Leela Barnes, were very prominent in the quarter horse racing industry. I was awed by his presence. He was a handsome man, had a gorgeous wife, all these good horses. But he and my father were good friends, and they had greatest respect for each other. And so I got to observe him from afar. But he was a very welcoming, warm kind of a guy. And in later years, we became very close friends.
After serving his country in World War II, Marvin came back to Ada and naturally followed in his father's footsteps.
I was in Manila, Philippines, when the war ended in '45. Then when I got out, put me a little used car lot in down on 10th Street. And I rodeoed a little bit on the side, but I was always in the used car business.
Although he had to pay the bills, horses remained Marvin's first love. Roping and rodeo on evenings and weekends kept him in the saddle and always put a smile on his face. His excellent horsemanship even led him to Tinseltown for a spell.
I stayed out there about 3 months and got acquainted with Ben Johnson. And we got to be the best of friends. He got me a job in Republic Studios in the movies. I had my horse and everything out there. They wanted me to go in the movie, go to work right then. And I told him I couldn't do it. I said, "Ben, I've got to go back to Ada." He said, "Well, go home and get your business taken care of and come on back." I never did get back to California.
At the time, the thought of racing horses never entered his mind. In fact, pari-mutuel racing was not even legal in the state of Oklahoma. It was under these conditions that FL Ladybug found her way into Marvin's life. Little did he know at the time, the mare would alter the course of his life forevermore.
I bought her to raise me a roping horse. She come off one of the largest ranches in West Texas. She went through 2 big ranches down in Sulphur and Pittstown, and that's how I got her.
He recognized that she had unbelievable quick speed. He roped calves on her, he competed in rodeos on her, he match raced her, and she was one of the very first mares inducted into the American Quarter Horse Association Hall of Fame for her productivity and her all-around versatility.
As a rodeo cowboy, Marvin was still more concerned with producing good roping horses. The world of quarter horse racing still seemed exotic and far away to him, since organized racing wasn't allowed in Oklahoma. But parimutuel racing was legal in many other states and the industry was thriving. And Marvin, through luck or fate, was in fact sitting on a gold mine.
They can't nobody figure this out. I'd breed her back to just a good horse, and she'd come with this colt, and he'd be a runner. Every one of them was run. I trained every one of them, broke them and trained them myself. So I guess I done it right.
You know, horse racing is part of our culture. It's part of the fabric of this state. Even though parimutuel didn't come along until 1984, a lot of world champion racehorses were run on non-parimutuel tracks up to that time, back to the days when this was still Indian territory. The Chickasaw ponies were crossed with thoroughbreds on the East Coast, and that's one of the founding branches of the American quarter horse. And horse racing among the Indian tribes was very, very popular. And the ranchers and the cowboys and the Indians would all match race their horses.
Quickly realizing his good fortune, Marvin soon switched his focus from rodeo to racing. FL Ladybug continued to work her magic, birthing champion after champion. As is the custom when big money gets involved, everybody in that world started taking notice. No stranger to making good deals himself, Marvin also capitalized on his astonishing broodmare.
In California, a friend of mine, he bought 5 mares out of FL and gave me $500,000. But he took these 5 mares to California and leased them for 3 years to a friend of his for $500,000, got his money back, and then he sold them around over the country for a lot of money. They're in Australia, they're in Japan, everywhere, all overseas. There ain't no telling how much money her offspring go all the way down. There ain't no telling how much money they make.
Never one to shy away from competition, Marvin entered the racing game himself. Armed with a high level of confidence in the quality and speed of FL Ladybug's offspring, he and his wife Leela started traveling the racing circuit outside of Oklahoma, where he found, unsurprisingly to him, unbridled success.
I'd go to El Paso, run there, and move into Ruidoso, New Mexico.
In one 1982 race at Ruidoso Downs, Marvin shocked the quarter horse racing world. 2 of his homebred horses from FL Ladybug's bloodline finished first and second in the All-American Futurity. The finishing order was incredible enough, but that race was also the first to offer a $1 million winner's purse anywhere in the country, including thoroughbred tracks. Mr. Masterbug won the race, and Miss Squawhand finished second. Together, they won more than $1.3 million for Marvin that day.
When I won that $1 million with that horse, never has been a thoroughbred, quarter horse, or nothing win that much money one time. He's the first horse in history to win $1 million.
To date, no horse owner has duplicated Marvin's success that day at Ruidoso Downs. He remained involved with horse racing and breeding for many years after, taking particular pride in the unrivaled and seemingly never-ending success of FL Ladybug's downline.
Everything that Marvin touched turned to gold in terms of performance on the racetrack. All the horses that race here at Remington Park now during the quarter horse meet, all of them have some bloodlines in them from Marvin Barnes horses, and I think that says a lot.
When FL Ladybug passed away at the age of 29, Marvin buried her on his Ada ranch so he could be close to her. Call it luck or call it fate, Marvin doesn't mind either way. He is just happy to have had the mare in his life.
They've been trying to do this for years, can't do it, and I've done it. Her daughters and her sons. That's what's producing now, see, and her grandsons. It just keeps going on down. There's never been another mare in history like it.
He was a true cowboy and a true horseman, most of all. He was the rare guy who bred, owned, and sometimes trained his own horses. He was just a true cornerstone of the American quarter horse industry and of the Oklahoma horse racing industry.